My job industry is the absolute worst. I am a skilled tradesman who's supposed to get a $3,000 bonus at the end of the year if I make the company at least $150,000 in profit per my contract. I ended up doubling it, which is supposed to increase my bonus. Instead, this is what I received. I'm 100% done with this industry.
My boss is the absolute worst. I have a broken foot and was resting it at work. Here's the text exchange. My boss said, "Good evening. I was reviewing the cameras from our shift today and noticed that you were sitting on a stool for the majority of your shift. This is completely unacceptable behavior and we will be discussing it tomorrow before shift." I replied, "I cleared it with the team lead and I have 2 broken bones in my left foot. This has been documented with a doctor's note. Aside from that, I packed 240 plus UPH for the entirety of my shift, the full 12 hours. I am not sure you're aware, but we do have a rack list for packing displayed directly above our stations. My efforts earned me first place today. So, just to be clear, my impressive performance was overshadowed by the fact that I wasn't uncomfortable enough while doing it?" My boss replied, "I'm really not appreciating your attitude. You could have just said the first part where it was cleared with another lead instead of being disrespectful. This type of behavior isn't going to get you anywhere here." I responded, "Hey, thanks for wasting my precious time off with some garbage you didn't bother to investigate beforehand. Seriously, 240 plus UPH, what you claim to be the pinnacle of performance there, I achieved it, and I get grief because I was sitting while doing it. You guys need to get your priorities straight. It's no wonder that you have such difficulties retaining staff. I'm not concerned with going anywhere there. It's a toxic environment with ignorant people at the helm. I won't be in tomorrow or ever again." My boss replied, "We don't need to rush to you leaving. Let's talk in the morning and we can sort this out." My final response to him was, "No thanks. Have a good life."
My boss is the absolute worst. My boss tried to force me to work on Thanksgiving and on Christmas after one of my co-workers quit on him for trying to force her to do it. Here's the text exchange. My boss said, "Hey Brandon, we're short-staffed for the rest of this year because Sarah just quit without any warning. We're really backed up, so I'm going to need you to come in during Thanksgiving this year. Don't be shocked if you have to come in during Christmas Eve and that day too." I responded, "I already told you 3 weeks ago that I need that week off and you agreed to it. Now you're changing your mind? I will not be working Thanksgiving, and if you ask me again I will not be working for you at all anymore." My boss responded by saying, "We've had to set expectations with you multiple times this year. Coming in is the least you can do. Your paid time off request has been denied. I'm not asking you to come in, I'm telling you that you have to." My last response to him was, "And I am telling you that you'll have no workers at all now. I quit." With a thumbs up emoji.
My company is the absolute worst. It pays to be a snitch. Our company posted a sign that says, "Warning. All employees must not eat during work hours. Receive a $20 reward if you catch an employee eating during work hours. Employees with 3 warnings will be laid off, with no exceptions."
The boss of my boss freaked out during a Zoom call because my cat stepped into frame. Let me explain. So my girlfriend works for a county, not the one we live in, but one nearby. She just got the job about a month ago, but so far she's enjoying it, aside from the terrible pay considering she has a master's degree. They had a Zoom meeting today, where upper management was on the Zoom call. Our cat briefly stepped in frame behind her, and the most senior person on the call, who is the boss of my girlfriend's boss, stopped the whole meeting to freak out. Apparently she's afraid of animals. My girlfriend laughed it off because she's a normal human and assumes it's no big deal. After the meeting, her boss calls her and instructs her to put the cat away before meetings so the big boss doesn't have to see the cat. Am I the only one who thinks this is totally insane and a complete overstepping of bounds? The cat is obviously not able to harm the person over Zoom. Accommodating this person's childish behavior seems unreasonable at this level of professional establishment. Anyway, my girlfriend has to hide our cat now, or I guess she'll lose the job. Is this the worst boss ever? I work in government intelligence and must notify manager to use restroom. Before I get into the story, I realize there are jobs where notifying your boss when you leave your desk or post is a normal practice. However, that was not the case at this job. We had top secret clearances and handled collateral secret equipment and sensitive encryption key material on a regular basis. They assumed we were adults and generally treated us as such. Also, the fallout isn't juicy, sorry, but the story is funny to me. I was an airman in the Air Force working in ComSec. It's difficult to fully explain this job to people who have never done it, but the short version is glorified inventory management with penalties for messing up, including but not limited to prison time. We were working out of a temporary facility and not all of us in ComSec could fit in the secure room. So, we were spread out in multiple offices. Myself and my direct supervisor shared a small office, while my NCOIC manager was in a different one. One day, I did what all civilized humans do at least once a day, and went to use the restroom. I came back, my supervisor said, "Sergeant Smith, I honestly don't remember my NCOIC name, was looking for you." So, I went to her office. Me, "Yes ma'am, you wanted to see me?" Her, "Why weren't you at your desk?" Me, "I was just using the restroom, ma'am." Her, "You need to be at your desk at all times, and when you're not, you need to let me know." Me, "Yes ma'am." At the time, besides email for computer communication, we were using Skype. It was common practice in that office to send quick messages to each other over Skype. So, I made sure to let her know every time I left my desk using Skype, just as she ordered me to. Every bathroom break. Every drink from the water fountain. I even notified her I was leaving my desk to come talk to her after she told me to come talk to her. Every single time I left my desk, she was notified. Me, "Ma'am, I getting up from my desk to grab a Form 16 from the printer." Her, "Why are you using a printer in a different room?" Me, "I'm not, but I have to leave my desk to retrieve it." That was the last straw. She had enough. She told me to stop telling her when I leave my desk except when I leave for lunch.
This isn't as grand as most of the stories here, but I just had to share. This was some years ago when I used to work in a restaurant. The owners, Alice, Mom, Debbie, worked with us. Debbie loved to act like she owned the place, and she got to tell us what to do. She constantly micromanaged, lectured us, yelled at us, and got after us for the most minuscule of things. Alice let her do it because, she was her mom and she couldn't tell her no. There were a few things Alice put her foot down on, but mostly just let her do what she wanted. Debbie was a nightmare to work with, even when you didn't share the same shift with her. Sometime later, we had apparently gotten a complaint about hair in our food. This was only once and Debbie was there. She was right in saying that we had to have our hair tied up even if we had a hat on. For those who don't deal with long hair, any loose strands can just stay in your hair and fall out at random times, so it is best to tie up your hair when around food. The malicious compliance came in when Debbie pointed me out specifically. Now, I was still closeted, so everyone knew me as a girl. The issue is that I had short hair. Like, pixie cut short. There was no way I could tie it up. Still, Debbie told me that I had to tie up my hair if I'm around food. My coworker, Liz, lit up. She happened to have a ton of those small rubber hair things. Liz offered to do my hair for me, which I accepted. By the end of it all, I had at least 5 small ponytails all around my head. I couldn't wear a hat as they all stuck out. Debbie told me I didn't need to have my hair tied up, but I insisted. After all, she pointed me out and said everyone had to do it. She made the rule, so it's only fair that I follow through. I finished my shift like that and she never said anything to me about my hair. She was still a nightmare, but it was at least one less thing to worry about.